Support for the Eyes Free Sports podcast is brought to you by Clusive. As a blind or visually impaired athlete, you know how important training is. With Clusive, you can take training on assistive technology, occupational, and career skills all online to help you reach your employment goals. Learn more at www.clusive.io. That's www.clusiv.io. Hello, and welcome to episode 93 of the Eyes Free Sports podcast. My name is Greg Lindberg. Here on this episode of Eyes Free Sports, our guest is a visually impaired rower and skier, and she has already accomplished many things in both of those adaptive sports. So let's go ahead now and get rolling with episode 93. All right, so my guest here on this episode of the podcast is Pearl Outlaw. And Pearl is a very accomplished visually impaired rower and also a Nordic skier. Pearl, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Definitely, yeah. And I just got to say, first off, you have a super cool name. I'm kind of jealous.
You're the first person to ever tell me that.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, I know you do live in Portland, Oregon, and are you originally from there?
No, I have been here a little over a year, but I'm originally from Charlottesville, Virginia.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Back east.
Yes.
And then just talk to me about like your childhood and family, any siblings?
Yeah, I have one older sister, and my parents and her as well, they still live in Virginia. I think, I always say this to people, I think I have a very fortunate situation that my parents are, well, they're awesome. And they're two of my best friends. And I think I'm really lucky to have that relationship with them. I feel like I had a pretty normal childhood. I think mostly because I was diagnosed with my condition when I was 9. And when you're 9 years old, kind of everything doctors say just kind of goes right over your head. So it really didn't register until, for a few years. But yeah, pretty normal childhood. Grew up out in the county outside of Charlottesville. So we had chickens and ducks and lots of pets all the time. So yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Nice. All those animals. Gotta love it.
Yeah. I was definitely not an athletic child. I say that as well. I remember because I was bragging about it to my friends and they were very unimpressed, but I couldn't even run a mile without stopping till like freshman year of high school. So I was not the sportiest of children. And I still don't consider myself very sporty. Put me on a field with a ball or something, I don't know what to do. So
Right. Okay, at least you admit it.
Yeah.
And then, so it is RP, retinitis pigmentosa, that you do have?
Yes.
Gotcha. And what? How has your vision kind of changed? Has it changed pretty dramatically over time? Or?
For a long time, up until high school and college, it was very slowly decreasing, but nothing noticeable, nothing super impactful. I started using a cane in high school because it definitely started giving me trouble just seeing steps and curbs and that kind of stuff. And I feel like everybody with RP or any progressive vision loss has this, but it's, I didn't start using a cane until I started literally falling downstairs. So I think we all have that same story. And then it was, and with RP, it's one of those, you don't know what you're going to get type of conditions. And my vision decided to go in 2018. So like over the course of that year, so I was 20, 21. I was still in college, and pretty suddenly, just week to week, I'd get different spots, lose different spots in my vision, and I would, like, my balance was really affected, which is kind of interesting. Like, I'd bend down to get my backpack after class and just fall over. So that was a challenging year, and I'd say the fall of that year when it was the most that was the most difficult. Yeah, just trying to do college and at the same time, 1 week I can see my notes, the next week I can't. So that's kind of shocker.
Yeah, that is interesting because I know with RP, for a lot of people, it can be pretty slow and you don't have those sudden changes. So that is interesting.
And now I pretty much call myself non-visual. I still have a good amount of light perception, which I'm very thankful for because I can still tell day from night and see, whether it's sunny or cloudy. But other than that, my functional vision is pretty much gone.
Right. Yeah, I'm probably in a similar boat, and I do have LCA, very similar to RP, and kind of at that same point. So we make the best of it,
Yeah. And for me, one thing I didn't expect was when I did finally get to this point of, okay, totally screen reader, adjusting to screen readers and not doing things completely non-visually. It got a lot easier once I had those skills, but it got a lot easier because I didn't realize how hard I was working, straining my eyes and zooming in on things and just really, really working to still see things. And once it finally, that wasn't an option, it just took a lot of stress away. And I did not expect that to happen.
Yeah, that is an interesting point. Yep. And so then I know you did mention college. I understand you attended Ithaca College in New York, right?
I did. Go Bombs. Yeah. Don't ask me what that mascot is. Nobody knows.
Yep. So what did you study? What was your major there?
Yeah, I studied exercise science and I concentrated on strength and conditioning. I had the idea I wanted to be a strength and conditioning coach when I went into college.
Nice. Very cool. And then, so just in terms of sports and athletics, so was it high school I had read that you kind of got into rowing initially?
Yeah, high school was when I started exploring different sports, and I think cross country running came first, and then someone at our morning assembly said, "Oh, hey, I'm going to do this thing called rowing, and it's twice a week at 5:45 in the morning. Does anyone want to come?" And I said, "That sounds interesting." So yeah, I got up and my mom drove me. My mom was a champ. She drove me, and I just got hooked on it. And I after I finished kind of the initial. Sorry, I've got a church right next door to me, so church bells are going off. But they just finished. Okay. After I finished the initial learn to row, I got to then join the junior summer team, which I did not do very well on my first day, and I was very embarrassed because everyone else was really good, and I was not. And but I caught up, and then there weren't that many rowing teams in my town, so I kind of badgered one of the high school coaches into letting me on the team, and asked her once no, asked her twice no, and just kept pestering, and then made it onto the team. So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, persistence is definitely key, especially when you have a disability, trying to achieve your goal and then get something done. And it sounds like that's exactly what you did. And were you pretty much hooked, in terms of rowing? You knew this is something you wanted to pursue for a while?
I did, yeah. I didn't know everything about the Paralympics and just para sports in general, but I knew that I wanted to do it for a long time. It was the first sport I had found that I felt like I wasn't at a disadvantage, because I had tried in middle school. I played volleyball, and then I tried lacrosse, and I tried soccer, and it just seemed like I always had to be thinking of workarounds, or just I had so many more limitations. Like with soccer, for example, I was really sensitive to the sun, and so if I was put on the side of the field facing the sun, I couldn't see anything. it just felt like I had to work so hard to even begin to get good at the sport. And rowing, you sit there and put the oar in the water when they tell you to, and you take it out when they tell you to. And I mean, it's easy. I don't know why everyone does.
Yeah, great point.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as like adaptations, any adaptations, that you've used or, to be successful as a visually impaired rower?
Yeah, the adaptations started in college because my vision in high school was still good enough that I could see the person in front of me and see videos and that kind of stuff. But yeah, in college, I think the first thing we did was I got a headlamp for morning practices. So I was rocking the headlamp so I could see the person in front of me. And they would put me towards the front of the boat, so I didn't have to follow as many people, because when you have, we have 8-person boats that are like 60 feet long or huge. So I didn't have to just visually following 7 other people or 6 other people. It's a lot of moving things. But as my vision started to decrease, and I have to give my college coach, Becky Robinson, like so many praises for this, because, I was the first adaptive athlete that she had ever coached. And as my vision decreased, she really pushed me to overcome that lack of vision. So she would make me row behind more people and really focus on, okay, what are you feeling? What are you hearing? And at first, I was like, why am I doing it? I said, this is miserable. I don't like this. I'm not good at it. She said, just keep doing it. And, and a couple weeks ago I raced and I was rowing in the second seat. So I was following 6 other people, and I did it, it was great. I was following them really well. So she is responsible for that. I think just my ability to row without seeing anything that's happening in front of me.
Right. No doubt about that.
Yeah.
And I've had a few other guests on this podcast, just a handful that have competed in, college athletics with a visual impairment among, fully sighted teammates. So definitely kudos to you on being able to do that, because I know it's a rarity.
Yeah. I mean, I think I lucked out with the college, and I went to a Division III college, so it definitely wasn't as high pressure as a Division I school, but there was great team culture, and I had great teammates that were just so supportive of me, and they're still some of my best friends, and amazing coaches with Becky and Coach Beth Green as well. So I think I just lucked into a great supportive environment.
Right. Absolutely. Very cool. So then kind of post-college, post-graduation, talk to me about your rowing career and just your achievements. I know you've competed in a few big events, right?
Yeah, just a few. Yeah, so I mean, it's interesting because I started training with the paranational team while I was still in college. My freshman summer was the first kind of my development summer with them. And then 2018, the next year, I made a boat that went to World Championships. And it was definitely tough. I think if I was going to give somebody advice, I would say, if you can wait till after college, try that. I definitely don't regret anything, but I think it was hard just going straight from school. I'd have maybe a week or 2 at home, and then I'd go straight to training camp in Boston. And that's one of the reasons I'm actually taking this season off. And that's one of the reasons, not off of training, just kind of off of tryouts and selection and all that stuff. Because I realized I hadn't had more than maybe a couple weeks that I hadn't been kind of under that magnifying glass since, let's see, that would be 2017, like 6 years. So I thought I'd give myself a little time to have some fun and relax a little bit, and it's been great so far.
Right. I see. And so I know you did mention, was it 2018? You said the World Championships.
Yeah, 2018 was my first World Championships. Those were in Bulgaria. Yeah, it was really interesting. Like, that's one of the great things about competing internationally, is that you get to go to a lot of places you would never think to visit. And yeah, so that was Bulgaria. And then 2019 was the year that we won bronze in the double. And that was pretty crazy, because for someone who can't see what's happening, it's like I didn't believe it when my partner said it behind me. She's like, "We were out third." I was like, "No, we didn't," and I would not believe it until they called us over to the podium, because you don't really know how it ended till you cross the finish line and someone tells you what happened.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I know you did get the bronze medal. So what was your record? Or I'm not too familiar with kind of how, the competitions work, but just talk to us about kind of how that worked, that event, and getting the bronze and what that meant to you.
Oh my goodness. I think it's one of those memories where you kind of black out because you're so happy. You're in such like euphoria. And I was probably making a really weird face because I was trying so hard not to cry and like smile at the same time. So I mean, the way rowing works is very much time based. So I don't even know off the top of my head the time that we finished. But actually, I don't remember too much of that day in general. I just remember the happiness and the excitement, and just it was overwhelming.
And where was that tournament or that competition held?
Oh yeah, that was in Plovdiv, Bulgaria.
In Bulgaria.
Yeah.
Wow.
Or no, sorry, that was in. I got it wrong. That was in Austria. I'm sorry, that was in Austria.
Okay, 2018 yes. You said was
2018
Bulgaria.
Was in and then 2019 was in Austria.
Gotcha. Wow.
Yes.
And then so you said that the 2019 event was a doubles event.
Yeah. That's the we have for my classification in para rowing, we have two boats. We have a 4-person boat and a double, which is a 2-person boat. And all 3 years I've rowed the double.
Oh, I see. I'm definitely curious. Yeah, just about like, your partner and kind of the communication involved and being kind of a team as to how you work together and be successful.
Yeah, and it's interesting because so for 2018 and 2019, my partner was Josh Boissonneau, and he retired in 2020, and so for 2022, I have to keep track of the 2 years that the World Championships were canceled, which was 2020 and 2021. So last year, 2022, I had a new partner, Todd Vogt, who also lives here in Portland. That's part of the reason I moved out here, so that we could train in person a little bit easier. And it's definitely interesting because it is a mixed gender boat. So it's one male and one female. And so that's an interesting dynamic, but I mean, it's a really close relationship. I think closer than you would expect, because you're spending hours a day together. Some days Todd and I would be up, training at 8:30 in the morning, and we wouldn't get done until 6 o'clock at night. And we've seen the worst of each other. We've seen the best of each other. We've had, screaming matches at each other. But at the end of the day, I think you just have to be okay with that, because it's such a high pressure environment and you're putting your body through so much. I think that's another misconception that people outside of para sports have, is that, Paralympians and para athletes, we put as much into it as any non-para athlete. It really takes up our whole lives, but it's definitely a close relationship, and you really know a lot about each other, and you see each other through a lot of stuff.
Right. And then just talk to me a little more about when you're actually, on the boat and just out on the water, and, any kind of communication strategies that you use or whatnot.
Yeah. So definitely during just training practices, there's a lot more talking, but during competitions, if you can imagine like a full sprint for like 7.5 minutes, and you're trying to also talk at the same time. So we would have abbreviations for stuff, and we really talked about, okay, what is essential for me to know and what's not. So pretty much what we decided on in for racing was just meter markers, because there are meter markers like every 500 meters. And so he would, we'd say 5, 10. I forget what we said. 1,500, which is kind of where you start to black out a little bit, was probably just some gargled, like, not words. But I have been thinking, because it is challenging for me to not have the data, because when we're racing, there's a device in the boat that says our stroke, how many strokes we're taking per minute, what our speed is, and usually the person that has it isn't also steering the boat. So Todd was steering the boat, trying to keep us from hitting the lane markers, because that'll really slow you down, and reading all this data, which normally that's 2 separate jobs, not one job. So, and at the moment, there's no audible stroke coach, is what they're called. So, and I've been trying to figure out how to do that, because I think it would make racing a lot easier. Because I do think the boats with the visually impaired athletes, one of the athletes is having to work a lot harder than the other one.
Right.
Which, yeah. So, something I've been trying to brainstorm. So if anyone listening has any ideas, let me know. Luckily, I have to give Concept 2 a shout out. They make, you've probably seen their rowing machines in gyms, and they make ski ergs as well. But they have an app that I can connect to my rowing machine screen that does give me audible cues. So it has just leveled up my workouts and makes training so much easier. So they just need to make a version that's waterproof, and then I can take it out there with me. Right,
yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
And then, so just to clarify, so your rowing partners are fully sighted?
Yes. So so Todd has Parkinson's, and Josh had an autoimmune disorder that I forget the acronym for, but he, in a nutshell, had very limited feeling and fine motor function from his knees down and his elbows down.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So definitely quite a variety of disabilities and challenges. And then, so then 2022, you said you did compete in a tournament?
Yes. Yeah. 2022, that was when Todd and I went to World Championships in the Czech Republic.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And how did you guys do in that race?
We came in 5th, which was a little hard. It was a little hard to take in. I think because we did really well earlier in the season. We raced in Italy at what's called the International Para Rowing Regatta. It's it's not a World Cup, but it's another para regatta where a lot of countries come together. It's a lot of fun. But we did really well there, and then I think we may have just worked ourselves a little too hard, and then when we showed up at Worlds, we were a little. We just didn't have it that day, because we even had faster speeds in some of our training workouts. So it was just a little bit, it was one of those things you kind of just have to say, oh, okay, it sucks. Like, we came into this with a lot of confidence and did not get the result that we thought we would get. But there's nothing to it but to kind of move forward and just keep, put your head down and keep working.
Sure.
Which is easier said than done, 100%.
Oh yeah, no question.
Yeah.
And so this year, any races this year, or what's kind of your current state, and then looking ahead and rowing?
Yeah, so I've done some casual races with a club here called Station L. They're a bigger masters club, so I've just been going out with them to just have a more team atmosphere and just have some fun. So I've done some racing with them, but my kind of big plan is I want to race at the head of the Charles in the champ single. And then after that, I am planning on racing in Gold Cup, which is another singles race. And that is exciting because you're probably like, how she's blind, how she can row a single, what? So there's a guy named Bob Berry who has a device that he can steer a single from like remotely. And so the head of the Charles is notoriously windy and has some of the most challenging turns in it of any course. And he's going to be in a boat behind me, steering me through the course as I race, which is amazing. It'll be the first time that's been done at Head of Charles. And last year at the Gold Cup was the first time it had been used in a U.S. rowing event. So, that's the goal, and it's pretty exciting.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And when does that take place?
That will be, I think, the last or second to last weekend of October.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
And where is that held?
Boston.
Gotcha. Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, that sounds super cool. I might have to have him on that podcast too on the podcast to talk about it.
I have to give him so much love because he also he's gifted me a single that is actually here in Portland. I haven't rode it yet, but it is here somewhere, and it will get to me eventually. But he is just like the most generous guy, and this device is a game changer because while a lot of rowers can get in their single and kind of zone out and really get into the moment and really get into their training, if I'm rowing a boat by myself, it's every 10 strokes or a megaphone, someone yelling at me which direction I need to steer. So it's pretty cool to just, and when you're racing, like that's the last thing you need is it just breaks your focus and it takes away from it. So the fact that I could race and just be like completely in the moment and in the zone is incredible. So I'm very, very excited.
Right. That's awesome. Yeah. And hey, best of luck in that event. And
thank you.
Just congrats on your achievements, thus far in rowing. And I know there's a lot more to come here for you.
Yeah.
So let's transition on to skiing. So I know that recently you've gotten into some winter sports, both skiing and the biathlon, right?
Yes, yeah. And on the pair side, it's all together. On the non-pair side, it's two separate sports. But on pair, they just throw us into everything. So,
yep.
Yeah, it's been an adventure.
Nice. Yeah. So how were you kind of introduced to winter sports and skiing? How'd you get into it?
Yeah. In 2019, winter of 20, winter of 2019, I was in Boston, and it's kind of similar to rowing. Someone just said, "Hey, there's this ski trip for people who are blind, and they'll guide you around, and do you want to go?" And I said, that sounds like a hooch. I sure will. And I had never even looked at a pair of skis in my entire life. I've never been downhill skiing, never gotten close to anything like that. So I had no idea what I was doing. And people who ski will laugh at this because I showed up. Nordic skiers are very like streamlined. They wear a lot of leggings and not a whole lot of clothing, and I showed up to my first ski trip in like a full-on snowsuit, complete with like snow pants and like 30 layers. And it was pretty funny. I laugh about it now, but way too many clothes. I mean, it was a really fun trip. It was with a group called New England Ski for Light, and they took us up to New Hampshire for 3 days and just kind of showed us the basics of cross-country skiing. And then it was on another trip a year later up in Craftsbury, Vermont, that one of my guides just casually threw out, "Oh, if you practice, you could do some racing." And I said, "Okay, sure, whatever." And just let it go. And then another year later, I was writing a paper in school about downhill skiers. And I said, I'm going to send the head coach of the U.S. Paranordic team an email. And that's what I did. I said, "Hey, I'm a rower, and I tried skiing. I kind of liked it. What do you think about that?" And that kind of started the ball rolling. And now I'm year, and I can't believe it. Just finished my first full season of racing and got a few national championships under my belt. So yeah.
Wow. So you never really, quote unquote, envision yourself on the slopes thinking back?
Absolutely not. I did not see it coming. Yeah. And let alone biathlon. That's a whole nother, what even is that? But it's so much fun. And I think it's a really good balance for rowing because you get the adrenaline, you get to go fast. Which I think people don't always associate cross-country skiers with going fast. It's still a little surreal for me because I did not think it would go this far at all.
Right. Life kind of takes us in different directions at times, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And any guides, any, teammates, partners that you've had on the slopes that you'd like to mention?
Oh yeah, so many. Well, I have to mention Jen Forbes and all the athletes up at the Craftsbury Outdoor Center. They're up in Vermont, and that was where I did my first kind of long-term training trip. I spent 3 weeks up there, and they have Nordic skiers and rowers training up there. So all the rowers kind of volunteered to guide me, and Jen Forbes in particular. We were both learning together. I was still new at skiing, and she was new at guiding, and we learned a lot together. But it was fabulous. And let's see, I think I've had a lot of guides too. I think this winter I had a list of 7 or 8 guides that I would kind of cycle through. But Tanya Kari, she's a Paralympian from 2002. I got to work with her, and she was amazing. I loved skiing with her. And I think just all the athletes, just the sit skiers and the rowers too, just all the athletes are so impressive, and there's too many names. You meet so many people, and they're all incredible. So.
Right. And I'm also curious, comparing rowing with a partner versus skiing with a guide. Are there some similarities there in terms of that relationship and communication?
Yeah, it's very similar to rowing. It's very individualized. You kind of decide. There's no language handbook of, because you're skiing. The guide is skiing in front of someone that sometimes can't see anything in my situation, but how do you communicate to them that there's a huge hill coming up, or a tree or something like that. But yeah, so you kind of have to decide what is essential information and what's not. For example, this is actually really funny. My ski guide at Biathlon Nationals, when we got done racing, he said, "Oh my goodness, I thought you were going to hit that post, and you were 2 inches from hitting it, and you didn't. And I thought I needed to say something, but I didn't." So I had no idea that I was within an inch of colliding at full speed with this wooden post. Which probably in the moment, if he had said something, I would have, veered off too far. So. Yeah, and you kind of get a rhythm down. The more you ski a course, the less you have to say and the more efficient you can become. And then you practice. Everything's about practice, just over and over. How are we going to enter the range? How am I going to show you where your rifle is? How are we going to approach this hill? So it's a little more, there's a little more conversation and detail involved compared to rowing, because it's pretty much, we're going to start at this end of the course and row in a straight line until we get to that end of the course. Skiing is very much, the first time you see a course, you might stop at every kind of bit of it and say, okay, here's what this downhill does. It's got a sharp turn and then it goes straight into a climb. How do we want to do this? But it's definitely still teamwork. The guide isn't just, the guide's working really hard too.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And then in terms of the biathlon, really curious about, is it an audio rifle that you guys use?
Yes. Yeah, it's an audio rifle, and it is a camera, I believe was explained that was how it was explained to me how it worked. There's a camera, and the targets are electronic as well, so you can turn them on and off, and everything's connected with cables. And I would say, I mean, I've never shot a 22 rifle that the non-visually impaired athletes shoot, but the audio rifle is pretty challenging. It is. Yeah, you're aiming at something that's 20 yards away that's about little over 2 centimeters in diameter, and you have to hit that thing just in the right spot, or else they don't count if you hit the edge of it or you're a millimeter out of it. They don't count that. So,
wow.
Yeah, and that's a whole, kind of mental game of, because every shot that you miss, you either have to ski a penalty lap or you get time added to your clock. So that's one thing we practice, is how you take a shot and then just think about one shot at a time, whether it's a miss or a hit. You just
right. Yeah, I have played audio darts. I don't know if you've ever tried with the talking dartboard, but I'm sure
I have not. Oh my goodness.
But this definitely sounds much more. You got to be much more precise, and like you said, it's such a small little target that you have to aim for.
Yeah, and there's some races where, like at Biathlon Nationals, I did a 10K, so that was 5 2-kilometer laps, and in between each one was 5 shots. So you're taking 20 shots, and that was not one of my better shooting days. I've watched some skiers and they are so good at shooting. That's my goal. So you can win or lose a race based on your shooting. And I have yet to have a clean shot, which is where you get all 5. But that was not one of my better shooting days. So I think I ended up skiing like 2 kilometers extra in penalty laps. I finished.
Darn it.
Yeah.
And what would you say your goals in skiing are?
Definitely I would love to go to the Paralympics. I'd love to, that's my kind of 4 to 8 year goal. I would love to go to the Paralympics. Kind of shorter term is, just to make the development team. Right now I'm in the pipeline, but I haven't quite made it to that level. But kind of just taking it one day at a time and trying to think about, I can't ski right now because I can't see, but I don't think there's snow on the ground. But just practicing the little things, like, we do a lot of balance work and the shooting practice and the target practice and even just trigger practice. So doing those mundane things that, you don't know how they're going to pay off, but I know that when I get back on skis, it'll make a huge difference.
Right, for sure. Yeah. And have you had the chance to try any other sports for the blind?
See, I have not. I have tried goalball, like years and years ago. I tried goalball, and there was something about being on the floor that I don't think this is for me. But I did. Oh, and I've done running, like running with a guide. I had a running group in Boston that I really loved. Achilles International. They're great.
Oh, cool. Yep.
But I liked that. Yeah, that was just a really great group.
Nice. Any other sports you'd like to try? Beat baseball or?
I would really like to try adaptive surfing. Because when I was sighted, I was not good at surfing, and I wonder if I do it if I'll get any better at it. My dad surfs, so I would love to be able to go out with him. And then I was talking to a teammate of mine who does a lot of horseback riding, and I used to do a lot of horseback riding. I didn't mention that when I was sighted. And actually, this past year on my birthday, I wanted to get back on a horse, and I went to a farm in Virginia that's run by a blind man, and he trains horses, and I got to get on a horse for the first time since I lost my vision, which was really, really, really cool.
Wow.
But
Very neat.
she found a woman here in, I think she's about 20 minutes just in Washington State who has worked with visually impaired riders. So I think I'm going to give her a call and go do that.
Nice. Sounds like a ton of fun.
Yeah. Then I recently, I had to stop because it was actually making me too tired to do my rowing workouts, but I tried CrossFit for about a month when I first got back to Portland.
Oh yeah, I've heard that's pretty intense.
Yeah, and they do have para CrossFit. One of my friends, Molly Moore, is she's very, very accomplished in para CrossFit. It was really fun. It was kind of a challenge because I walked in and we did have to make some adaptations to, not a ton, but just a few little tweaks here and there. And then I was totally able to do the workouts as just as anybody else would do. So that was just a really fun experience. And I think I picked the right, I kind of just walked into the right gym that's right down the street here, and they were really, really great.
Oh, nice. That's awesome. Yeah. So you never know with, gyms and fitness centers, how willing they are to help. So
yeah, I think some people you walk in and I was having this conversation with someone the other day, you walk in, it's, hey, I'm blind. Can you want to help me lift weights? And they have the, I don't really know what to do with you kind of reaction.
Just that, yeah. Yep.
Yeah. These guys definitely did not give me any slack. They did not go easy on me. Yeah.
Yep, they gave you the heavy ones right away, probably.
Oh yeah, they threw me in right away, and it was a lot of fun. I'll definitely go back when I'm in my kind of off season when I can kind of just do a little bit, have a little bit more flexibility in my training, because it was a lot of fun.
Sure. So just a couple other quick things here before we wrap up. So as far as career achievements, goals, anything you want to mention in terms of career?
Athletic career or just general career?
Yeah, general career. In general, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely, and I say this all the time, I definitely see myself continuing with my athletic career for as long as I can, like probably till I'm 50 or longer. I'll just find another sport that's low impact, and I'll just keep doing it. But as far as career, I am actually in the process of doing the athlete reskilling program with Salesforce. I found out about it in a Team USA newsletter. We get these emails, and they're really handy because they have sometimes grant information, and they have this. And I had no idea what Salesforce was. Had literally no idea. And it's been pretty cool. Like, I have a mentor. It's this 8-week program, and they're teaching you all about the Salesforce platform and the different roles they have. It is still kind of hard to explain exactly what they do, because I feel like they do a little bit of everything, but I'm going to continue with them. And my mentor said he would continue on with me, and I'll kind of get some certifications, and I see myself applying for a job there. That's the plan.
Nice. Yeah, I'm somewhat familiar with Salesforce, having worked in marketing. I know it's definitely a big tool. A lot of big companies out there use, just in terms of client management systems and whatnot. So then that's really interesting that you said it was through Team USA, through athletics that you got connected to that. Yeah,
they have a lot of resources. The USOC, USOPC, they have a lot of resources that are free, because it's basically free, and then they help with certifications as well. But I've been really impressed with how so I was a little apprehensive, like any kind of online training, the first question is always like, oh man, how accessible is this going to be? Am I going to want to do this? And then I get on the site and it's, kind of hit a roadblock. But I've been really, really impressed so far. And they even have, for some of the units, special screen reader specific instructions, which, so it tells me that they're not just talking the talk with accessibility, they're really putting the effort in. So that's really exciting. Yeah, I'm doing that. And then I am taking classes with the Oregon Commission for the Blind, just general JAWS classes. I have been a voiceover user for a long, long time. And it definitely can't do everything. So I finally took the plunge to learn JAWS.
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome. Hey, again, wish you a lot of luck, with that, in terms of Salesforce and technology and everything. It sounds like it's going to lead to something good.
Yeah. And I think I figured out this year that just being an athlete outside of my work time, I don't think I want to do something with athletes during my work time. And I really enjoy the kind of math analysis part of Salesforce. So I think that'll be good for me, because I'm definitely a little burnt out of talking sports by the end of the day. So. Yeah.
No doubt. Yeah. Interesting. Yep. Kind of a nice balance there with the two.
Yeah.
Very different areas.
Mm-hmm.
Any other hobbies, any other interests that you have that you'd like to mention?
Yeah. Let's see. Well, I play guitar. And
cool.
if you follow me on Instagram, I post songs from time to time. I have a few that I need to put up. I have not in a very long time, but I do enjoy writing some music on the guitar. And what else? Just I've been playing around with some baking recently. Some very stereotypical athlete baking, like protein muffins, or so that's another one. And I think other than that, I lead a very boring life outside of sports. People ask me what I do, and I'm like, well, I sleep a lot, I eat a lot, I read from time to time, but I'm reading Outlander right now. I just started it, and I'm excited to get into it.
Oh, nice. Yep.
Yeah, but my social life at the moment is go over to a friend's house and watch Jeopardy and pet their dog. So not very exciting.
Right. Hey, I'm a game show nerd myself, so go Jeopardy.
Yeah.
I know you did mention Instagram. If you want to mention your handle and any other social media or how people can find you online.
Yeah, absolutely. So my Instagram is just at Pearl_Outlaw, and that's PEARL_OUTLAW. And that's about all I do. I don't have a Twitter or a TikTok or a Snapchat. I do Instagram mostly, and I like to keep a balance of serious sporty posts and more silly posts, so you get a good mix. And if you want to reach out to me by email, I'm always open to chat, or Facebook Messenger. That's how Greg got in touch with me, but I'm always open to chat with people, and if they want more information about what I do or just being blind, anything like that, always down.
Awesome. Love your attitude. Very upbeat, positive.
Well, I think I'm having a really good year this year, and I have not the past couple years, but I'm really enjoying just what I'm doing right now. So I think I'm emulating that out into the universe. I'm just having a really good year, and I'm really excited. So
nice. I can hear it in your voice. Awesome. Well, again, our guest on this episode has been Pearl Outlaw, and Pearl, really appreciate the time. This was a super fun conversation, and you've just done so many cool things, athletically and everything in your life. So really appreciate your willingness to share, and thanks for being a guest here on Eyes Free Sports.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me. It's great.
To hear more episodes of the Eyes Free Sports podcast and to subscribe, search for Eyes Free Sports on your favorite podcast platform or visit eyesfreesports.com. Be sure to follow the Eyes Free Sports podcast at facebook.com/eyesfreesports and on Twitter at Eyes Free Sports.